Hello my friends, and welcome to a new video where we're going to be talking about this game. And that game, of course, is JoJo Crusader's Heaven, which I don't like. Yeah, I'm gonna get this out of the way right off the bat, and it's probably in the title, and maybe also the thumbnail, but this game is not very good. I apologize in advance to those of you who like this, and I also apologize in advance to anyone from the development team that could potentially stumble across this, because I don't want to crush your dreams, but I don't like your game. That's just what it comes down to. Now, normally I don't make videos on specific games just to dumpster on them and say this sucks, but in this particular case, I've been asked again and again and again and again, and honestly, I really wish I'd been screenshotting every single time that people have asked me to play this game, but it's bonkers. It's AUT levels of you need to play this, so I went and I played it, and I don't like it. It's not to say that this game doesn't have anything to offer. I think it could be a fun distraction for people if they're bored of YBA or something. But outside of that, I just don't have any reason to play it, I guess. And I'll explain why in this video. I made it to explain myself, so might as well do exactly that. One last thing that I do have to mention is it says everywhere that this game isn't finished and things are work in progress and it isn't done. But what it comes down to is you can go to the Roblox game catalog, pick it, hit play, and you will play the game. And so I think if you have a game like that, it's open to scrutiny. And because the game is very clearly playable, I will not be holding back. First things first, and the most important thing on here is that the game just does not feel polished at all. There's so many just small things that make the game not feel good to play. And while I don't have a complete laundry list of things that I can explain away here, there are a few that just immediately come to mind. After you finish your ultimate moves, you just kind of freeze there in place, and so does the opponent for a while, and it's just super awkward. I don't know why it's like that. The game often just freezes and locks up, and then your inputs are registered later, which also happens in YBA, but in YBA that tends to happen when you first join a server and then sorts itself out, whereas here it's a pretty regular occurrence where inputs will get eaten, stuff just won't happen, that kind of stuff. Dashes themselves are kind of wonky and for some reason seemingly don't go the correct direction, or they do, but they go slightly offset to the right or the left for no real reason. And overall, the movement of the game and the way it seems like things are supposed to work just don't really do that. It's almost impossible to explain unless you've played the game, and if you have played the game, then you probably know what I'm talking about. The next really important thing, which is basically tied with the previous reason I had, is the combat. There's no other way around it. Combat in Crusader's Heaven is horrible. It feels so bad to fight people. At least for me it does. Maybe for you guys it's fine. Maybe you've played a lot of End the JoJo game, but for me, trying to play this, oh my god, even when stacked up against AUT, I can't do it. The combination of trying to stack extremely low end lag moves with M1 stuns, with clunky movement, it just feels horrible. There's this weird state of the game where you stand up, but you can't really do anything, but you're invincible, so sometimes you get caught when you stand up, sometimes you won't. Most moves in the game have really low end lag, which when you couple with the rest of the mechanics in the combat just doesn't work. And then you pack that on top of the fact that most of the combos in the game have incredibly low margins of error, where if you're just a frame late to pressing a button, they can block or dash out or attack you. It feels like the developers couldn't make up their mind if they wanted a slow-paced defensive-based game or a fast-paced offensive-based game. So you have a very awkward hybrid of the two. From what I've played, what it tends to come down to is a really slow stalling match where you try to punish the other person for messing up. And that gameplay, at least for me, is just not very much fun. But even that gameplay can be frustrating because you go to punish someone for using a move, and then they have no end lag, and they immediately attack out of it, and then you get stunned for trying to punish something they did. And it's just not fun. That's what it comes down to. It's just not fun. And when you have the combat that's just not fun, your game would really need to make up for that in other areas, but that perfectly segues us into the other section, which is Crusader's Heaven doesn't have a whole lot to do. It's another one of those games where what you see is what you get. If you have the world, your the world is the same as everyone else's the world, aside from, I guess, skins. There's no leveling, there's no customization of your movesets or anything of any kind, there's no skill trees, and those kinds of things, while yes, being a seemingly mostly YBA exclusive, are something that after you've played that game, it's almost a requirement at this point. Obviously, if you have games that are radically different from YBA, then it's fine to not have that because your game relies on other aspects in order to be good. But with Crusader's Heaven being so similar in scope and idea to YBA, not having those things really just makes it feel inferior in a lot of ways. And while I'm sure there's tons more things that I could start listing out to you to try to justify my reasons for not really enjoying the game and not wanting to play it, you probably get the idea by now, and I probably never needed to justify myself in the first place. But I felt like with so many people asking me about it, I had to make something a little bit more than that, so that's why we have this. But you know what? If you haven't played Crusader's Heaven yet, even despite everything I've said, I still recommend that you give it a try, because I think there are a lot of things about Crusader's Heaven that are actually done really well. And so rather than just being exclusively negative and saying, this game sucks, here's a bunch of trash, I hate it, I am going to talk about things I liked and stuff that's done really well. And the most notable thing on here, as a surprise to absolutely no one, is that this game gives a big cutscene ultimate move to every single stand in the game, and it works. Something I really did not think would work, but here I am standing corrected. Basically, the way it works is that every single stand has a little ultimate bar, and you charge up that ultimate bar, and once it's charged up enough, you can use certain attacks, and once it's halfway filled, you can use a big ultimate cutscene move that does, I think, like 80 or something damage for the most part for most of them. And these cutscene moves, while some of them being a little bit too long in my opinion, are really well done. They look cool, they sound cool, they're executed well, and makes me sad when I look at them because it's gonna add on another thing where I'm gonna play a JoJo game and I'm gonna be like, well, Crusader's Heaven could do it, but you can't? Why not? The ultimate bar in of itself, while in my opinion charging a little slowly, truly does succeed in balancing out some of these really powerful tools by giving you a resource that you need to use in order to use it that doesn't go away unless you die. And on that same topic of the ultimate bar, time stops in this game are the most balanced I've seen of any game, and it doesn't even come close. Time stops in this game, if anything, are a little weak, but considering that only some stands have that, it makes sense. Most of the time stops take about a quarter of your ultimate bar. M1s don't do a boatload of damage, so we don't have a YBA scenario. And even if it did do a boatload of damage, at the end of it, the opponent gets knocked down, so they can't get comboed off of it, and so you don't have those BS ridiculous moments where people get big 100-0 combos with time stop. This kind of thing kills two birds with one stone. It makes it so that that stupid nonsense where you try to combo someone at the end of time stop and then your move misses because Roblox can't handle where the people actually are at the end of it, completely removed because you can't hit them with moves anyway. And it makes it so that those 100-0 time stop combos or huge massive combos don't happen. Overall, it's very well done. So there it is, that's what it comes down to. And all of this, obviously, is just my opinion. I think this kind of stuff can definitely vary from person to person, and there's definitely a sizable portion of people that really like this game and play it often. And I'm glad that they're able to do that. I'm just not one of them. As I already said, if you want to give the game a go, I highly recommend it because it might be the game for you, so why not give it a shot? It's linked in the description. Anyways, that's all for today's video. I don't have anything else to say. I just wanted to get this out there since so many people had asked me whether I'd play this game and if I had had fun with it and whatnot. And no, before you ask, this isn't going to be like AUT where I make a video and say I'm not playing it and then a week later I end up making 10 videos on it. That's not going to happen unless there are radical changes, which probably won't happen because, well, it would be a lot of work, and why would you go through all that effort to please one person? That would be stupid. I honestly hope that doesn't happen, because I'd feel really bad for their core audience who enjoys the game. But as I said, that's all. If you enjoyed, you can leave a like, subscribe, If you didn't, don't. And with all that being said, have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I'll see you next time.